This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1229 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by Clarion Hotel, Lexington. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip features driving radio show co-hosts Glenn and Dr. Wendy Ying with some great information about intranasal inoculations, a great way to keep track of your Coggins test, and the latest FEI and USEF vaccine requirements for influenza. And we'll get right to our tip after this from Clarion Hotel, Lexington.
If you're coming to Kentucky Horse Park for the Rolex or any other event, the best way to complete your Rolex experience is to stay at the nearby Clarion Hotel, just 4 miles from the horse park. At the Clarion Hotel, your experience will include a great room featuring a Tempur-Pedic memory foam bed, flat screen TV, and in the morning, a full free hot breakfast with eggs, sausage, waffles, and other great breakfast items. The Clarion is a full-service hotel with easy access off of I-75 at exit 115 with plenty of parking for your truck and trailer. The Clarion Hotel is also pet-friendly, so you can always bring along your furry friends. Best of all, you don't have to leave the hotel to enjoy fantastic Kentucky-style food and drink. Cortland's Southern Kitchen offers innovative Southern fare and a casual atmosphere, or you can relax at the Sports Page Bourbon Bar and Grill, where you can give the bourbon sampler a try. It's a great way for you and your friends to discover which Kentucky spirit is your favorite. If you're coming to Rolex, you better get your reservation in early. 859-233-0512. That's 859-233-0512. Well, Wendy, before we wrap up the show today, I saw that the USEF has new rules on flu, and I didn't really read the article. I don't really know what they're talking about. Can you fill us in? Is it the USEF or the FEI?
FEI already has the rule for flu, so this is just bringing up the up USEF to the FEI level. So what it says is, at Federation licensed competitions, horses entering the grounds must be accompanied by a documentation of equine influenza and equine herpes, which is also known as rhino virus.
Right.
And they have to have that within 6 months of entering the stable. And if you don't have the proof of that, it says you may be asked to leave the grounds, but what they will probably do is ask you to take their temperature twice a day, and you have to report that to competition management. And that's because of all the outbreaks that we've been having. And also you can take rhinovirus actually back to your barn. They can be a carrier. And if you have any pregnant mares at home, then they're susceptible to that. They can abort from that, things like that. But the vaccine, unfortunately, does not protect against the neurologic form of rhino. And that's the one that everybody is really afraid of. Mm-hmm. Because you've heard of that, right? The neurologic form of rhino. And they get, they'll be at a competition, they'll have an outbreak, and then there'll be a couple horses down, and then everybody gets in the trailer and drives home as fast as they can, which is probably not the best thing. But, and so in my practice, when I do FEI horses, they have a passport, and then I fill out their flu records in their passport. FEI actually doesn't require rhinovirus because they don't have that in Europe. But for us in the United States, it's very common to do flu and rhino together in one shot. The vaccine that I use for my clients is the intranasal vaccine. It's called Calvenza. And I like the intranasal vaccine because it gives immunity in the nose, right? So they carry antibodies in the mucus in their nose to the virus. So when they breathe it in, hopefully they'll kill it there with the antibodies. Where you do injectable, you are making antibodies, but you're making antibodies in the blood. So when they have to breathe it in, it has to get in the bloodstream, and then your antibodies attack it. And if you are, I'm sure you and Jennifer give your own vaccines, right? You don't have a veterinarian give your vaccines?
Jennifer gives the vaccines and the vet, does the things the vet have to do.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's really common. When I was 13, my trainer insisted we all learn how to give our vaccines. So, if you do your own vaccines, then you need to, there's a couple of hoops you have to jump through to prove that you've done that. And you have to show the receipt that you bought it,
right,
that you bought it at the store, and have the serial number and the expiration date, and then the date that you give it. On the USDF
so like you
site,
make copies of your Coggins, you would make copies of that to bring with you.
Yeah, you make copies of that. So if you buy it from Valley Vet or wherever, then you just keep that copy. You put it in your Coggins book or whatever, and just write down the serial number. And a lot of these vaccines, if you buy the single dose vaccines, it has a sticker, the label. You can just tear it off and put that, just stick it on your Coggins.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Also, with our new picture Coggins, for my clients, I can put in vaccines onto their Coggins form. So I always put in their rabies when they have their last rabies. There is a space for the flu and rhino vaccines now, although we only do the Coggins once a year. So you might need another form, because you need this vaccine every 6 months. But the USEF has a form that you can download that you can it just has these little boxes. You just fill in the information. As the veterinarian, I sign off on that and stamp it. But as a horse owner, you could fill that out and then show that with your proof of the receipt of the vaccine.
And now you just do the picture Coggins. Our vet doesn't do that. You think that's going to become mandatory at some point?
I think it should be mandatory, and plus your vet should do it. It's so much easier because you don't have to draw those pictures. When he gets an Appaloosa,
and with technology today,
he's not doing the pictures.
With technology today, he has a camera on his phone. It'd be easy for him to do.
Yeah, and with my picture Coggins, I've been doing these since 2004. No, not 2004. 2007, I think they started. So any horses that I have in the practice from then just have the same picture. I don't have to upload the picture every time. All their information's in there. So when I do a repeat Coggins, all I have to do is click 3 buttons and it's done. And then the owner can actually log on to the site and print their own Coggins off once it's in. So, gone are the days when it's Sunday morning and you're leaving for the horse show and you don't have your Coggins and your vet office is not open. Plus,
I've never done that.
I don't like to get calls on Sunday morning when do you have my Coggins?
Oh, every damn time we go someplace, Jennifer's like, where do I put the Coggins?
I know. But see, and you know what I always tell people to do, as I say, go online and they can make a little profile and they can have access to all their Coggins. So if they lose it, they can print it out. If they lose it, they can print out a new one anytime. But you can also download a PDF and just keep it on your phone. Or on your iPad. So when you're filling out your entry forms, now in combined driving, we have a lot of online entries thanks to Ellen Ettinger. You just send her you just email her your Coggins and then she has it.
It is a great idea, though. It also stops a lot of fraud.
Well, and especially with, when I used to go over the Florida state line, we have to go to the health through the ag checks. And I had my team. I had 6 black horses that all look alike, right? On the picture Coggins, on the drawing Coggins, they had to get in there with the flashlight, blah, blah, blah. But now with the picture, you can see their face. You see what they look like. So you're right. It does stop a lot of fraud.
Well, there you have it. You can find links to today's guests as well as bunches of tips at horsetipdaily.com. Make sure to have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by downloading the free Horse Radio Network app for your iPhone or Android. Just go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network. This podcast was made possible through the generous support of Clarion Hotel Lexington and listeners like you. This is Coach Jen, and I'll be back again soon with another tip. So until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.